Caitlin Clark looked into those cameras on Thursday and said she is not a robot, that she has emotions, that she has feelings, that it has been hard, and that the Thomas foul was not up for debate. This is not the Clark who spent 3 years absorbing cheap shots with a smile and saying all the right things at every podium. This is the Clark who has been watching a fist go into her throat, watching a one-game suspension get handed down as the league's full response, watching herself get a technical foul for clapping while Thomas walked away clean, and who came back to practice availability on July 3rd and said every single thing she has been holding back. She also came back as the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, 22 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, while playing through a back injury caused in part by a physical environment that has been building since the first day she stepped into this league. And what she said on Thursday changes everything about what happens next. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because what Clark said on Thursday is the most honest she has ever been. And the league cannot pretend it did not happen.
I think it's difficult. I think a lot of people sometimes think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. I have emotions, I have feelings, and it can be really difficult to go through a lot of that. And, I'm 24 years old trying to navigate a lot. And I think at times I've been in this world 4 years now, and you would never change any of it. But there are times that it is hard, and there are times that, it probably affects me a little bit more than I do put on. And, I would never change any of that for the world. But I think it's important that people do remember that part of it too. So
nobody in that room was expecting that. 4 years of watching Clark be composed and measured and diplomatic at every podium. And she walked up on Thursday and said it out loud before anyone even asked. She is 24. It has been hard. It affects her more than she shows. That is not a press conference line. That is the first genuinely unguarded thing Clark has said since she entered this league. And the reason it landed the way it did is because of everything that led up to it. Thomas putting a fist to her neck, the official on the baseline not calling it, the one-game suspension, the back injury, the empty arena when she sat out, the boycott, the 3-sentence GM statement. Every single one of those things sitting on the shoulders of a 24-year-old who kept showing up and kept smiling and kept saying all the right things until Thursday. And now the question is, what the league is going to do with the information that its most important player just told the world she has been carrying more than anyone knew. But here is the part that the league cannot walk away from.
You guys are going to ask, and I did think it was a flagrant foul. So I think for us, as the league's just got to do better protecting our players in that regard. I don't really think that it was up for debate. Obviously, it wasn't called in real time. You go back and watch the clip. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of been a discussion for like 3 years now, and I think we really need to do a better job protecting the people in this league. And the egregious ones, you gotta call. That's just the fact of the matter. You cannot miss things like that. And
3 years. Clark said it has been a discussion for 3 years. Not this season. Not since the Thomas incident. 3 years. That goes back to the 2024 body check when Marina Mabrey flattened her in Atlanta. To the Sheldon eye poke in 2025 that sent Sophie Cunningham after her in the final minute. To every possession this season where opponents figured out that physical play against Clark carries almost no officiating consequence. 3 years of the same pattern, and Clark has been measured about it at every single podium until Thursday. And on Thursday, she said the egregious ones have to be called, and this one was not. And it is not up for debate. That is not an angry player lashing out after a loss. That is a player who won Eastern Conference Player of the Week, who is coming back from injury, who has thought about this more carefully than anyone in the league office, and who just told every camera in that room exactly where she stands. The league that handed down a one-game suspension now has to respond to that. And what it does next will define the rest of this season. Now here is what else Clark said that nobody is talking about enough.
The headline read this season has been everything but fun, and they're just full of frustration for Clark and the Fever. I'm like, no one ever asked me that. Nobody ever asked me that. That's wrong. Discuss my play. Discuss if I played bad. Discuss if I played good. Discuss our play.
Nobody ever asked her. A reporter published a headline about Caitlin Clark's emotional state without asking Caitlin Clark about her emotional state. And Clark, who just spent more than a week recovering from a back injury, who just said publicly that she is not a robot and it has been hard, came to that podium and said actually discussed the basketball. The Eastern Conference Player of the Week award, the 3 all-star starters on her roster alongside her, the game, the product. She is not asking for sympathy. She is not playing victim. She is asking to be covered like a basketball player. And the fact that she has to ask for that, after 3 years of transforming this league from 4,000 fans a game into must-see national television, is exactly the thing Dave Portnoy was describing when he said the WNBA does not know where its bread is buttered. Clark just told them again. And whether they are listening is the question nobody in that league office wants to answer out loud. But here is where the story goes. Next. And this is the part every fan needs to hear.
I think overall the league just has to do better, and we have to invest in those areas. The technology can get better. We can treat the referees a little bit better. Pay them like they're full-time employees. It's about the refs. In the league overall, like, we have to improve. Like, league office, you got to do better. Have to find ways to do better. And that's just reality. And that doesn't go for just me and the FIBA, that goes for everybody in the league.
You mentioned. That goes for everybody in the league. Clark is not making this about herself, even when she has every right to make it about herself. She had a fist put into her throat. She missed more than a week. She came back to a podium and talked about improving referee technology and making officials full-time employees. That is not a player protecting herself. That is a player trying to protect every player who comes after her from the same 3 years she just lived through. And there is something sitting underneath all of that, which the league needs to hear very clearly. Clark is giving them the solution. She is telling them exactly what investment needs to happen. And if the league watches a player absorb a fist to the neck, hands down a 1-game suspension, and then sits quietly while that player comes back and outlines the structural fixes needed, it will not be because they did not know what to do. It will be because they chose not to do it. That choice will have consequences. The empty arena on Saturday when Clark sat out showed exactly what those consequences look like. And she is not going to be sitting out forever. Clark confirmed she is out Sunday, but targeting the back-to-back that follows. More than a week of uninterrupted practice behind her. Gary brought in as an additional assistant through the World Cup break. 3 all-star starters confirmed. A roster that has Sophie Cunningham coming to a press conference sick because she refused to let Clark face the cameras alone. The Indiana Fever that takes the floor when Clark returns is not the team that started this season. It is not the team that got outscored 28-15 in a single third quarter against Atlanta. It is a team that has been through enough that when Clark says the egregious ones have to be called nobody. On that roster is going to disagree, and every team in the WNBA that built a defensive strategy around targeting Clark physically is going to have to reckon with the fact that she just came back from the worst week of her career, and her first words were that it was not up for debate, and the league has to do better. Thomas is still in the league. The official who called Clark for clapping is still working games. The front office that issued 3 sentences is still running the Indiana Fever. None of that changed while Clark was out. What changed is Clark, and the version of her that walks back onto that floor has already said everything publicly that she kept quiet for 3 years. The question now is not whether she is back. She told you she is back. The question is what she does with it. What do you think? Did Clark finally say everything that needed to be said? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because Clark's return is coming and you do not want to miss a single moment of what happens next. We will see you in the next one.